It is exactly 4 o'clock right here in Kenya's capital, Nairobi. Good afternoon. I trust you're having yourself a wonderful day. Welcome to News Now right here on TV47, your home of untold stories. My name is George Maringa. Very delighted that you've joined us at this hour to be able to inform you with what's making headlines from across the country and beyond. But first, the highlights. Among the top stories making headlines at this hour, government insists parents must pay school fees via e-citizen.
Ni vizuri kwamba tulipe na maneno haya e-citizen. Mambo ya kusema kuni na chakula ni sawa, ilikuwa inafanyika wakati wako huo na huenda ikawa inaendelea kufanyika, lakini tunasisitizia watu walipe kupitia mtandao wa e-citizen.
We want to consolidate and improve on our diaspora policy. When the department sends out its requests for ideas.
Prime CS Musalia Mudavadi lauds Kenyans living in the diaspora, says they play a critical role in development agenda.
Residents of Wajir County require a dignified, respectful, safe care transfer and storage of bodies before burial.
Plus, Wajir County government has launched its first modern mortuary, alleviating transportation challenges for non-Muslims. Thank you for choosing TV47 to inform you. I'm at George Maringa _ across the social media platforms. Once again, keep it TV47 for these and much more as we stream on terrestrial platforms as well as on YouTube and our website. The Kenya Kwanza government is adamant about ensuring that school fees payment is done through the government's e-citizen platform. Government spokesperson Isaac Moery has condemned those opposing the government's agenda, labeling them as individuals seeking to obstruct government initiatives. He made these remarks during his weekly briefing to the media at the Kenyatta International Convention Center, KICC, emphasizing the government's commitment to its objectives.
Pia umeuliza kuhusu mambo ya karo. Ni kujibu ni kuambia ni vizuri kwamba tulipe na maneno haya e-citizen. Mambo ya kusema kuni na chakula ni sawa, ilikuwa inafanyika wakati wako huo na huenda ikawa inaendelea kufanyika, lakini tunasisitizia watu walipe kupitia mtandao wa e-citizen. Ni muhimu sana hilo tusisitizie, kwa sababu hujui ukipatia huyo mwalimu chakula kama ni yeye anakula ama ni mwanafunzi. Hujui zitakwenda wapi. Uweze ukasema kwamba hicho chakula unachokipatiana ni cha mtoto wako ama yeye ataenda kuuza alafu ndio apate pesa. Huo ndio ukora ambao unafanyika. Huyo mama pengine akienda kuuza soko na serikali inaendelea kutengeneza masoko apate hiyo pesa, utatumia. Na mambo ya kusema mambo ya e-citizen, tunalipa M-Pesa kila wakati. Tusianza kufanya ni kama ni jambo geni. Unaweza kulipa hizi pesa kwa sababu unatumia simu yako ya rununu, sio lazima ukwende kwenye benki. Na watu wengi sana hata ambao tumeketi hapa tunalipa karo kupitia nini? Paybill. Hiyo ni kitu ambacho tunafanya watu wengi sana. Pengine wale wangependa kuweka siasa katika mpango huu wote huu.
Staying with school fees payment, and various leaders have voiced strong dissent against the ministry's proposal for parents to pay school fees via the e-citizen platform. They have urged the government to allow Kenyans to continue paying school fees through traditional methods. According to Matungolo MP Stephen Mule, if the government forces parents to use e-citizen network as the official method for paying school fees, students from impoverished families may struggle to access education. Many of these families rely on agricultural produce and livestock to cover educational expenses. The Matungulu legislator says majority of parents from poor backgrounds do not own smartphones.
Nataka niulize Mheshimiwa Machogu, Waziri wa Education. Hii mchezo mko nayo katika hii serikali ya Kenya kwisha, lazima iishe. Huwezi sema school fees ya secondary school italipwa direct to e-citizen. Hapa Nguluni imejengea hawa wazazi shule. Kuko na headmaster. Kuna mzazi ambaye ana payslip, anachukua kondoo yake anapelekea administrator hapa. Hiyo kondoo itaingia e-citizen namna gani? Kuna mzazi anatoa kuni anapeleka shule, na si hapa Nguluni peke yake, Kenya mzima. Kuni ili mtoto asome. Unataka huyo headmaster, huyo principal achukue kuni aweke kwa e-citizen namna gani? Kuna mzazi anajitolea aende akakue watchman kwa shule, na mshahara yake ndio karo ya mtoto wake kwa hiyo shule. Unataka huo mzazi alipe e-citizen ama achukue huyo mtoto aweke kwa e-citizen?
President William Ruto today attended the Kenya-Japan Business Forum, where he emphasized the importance of Japanese investors considering investment opportunities in Kenya's agricultural sector. During his address at the forum, Dr. Ruto highlighted the advantages of the bottom-up economic model, particularly in stimulating growth within the agriculture and technology sectors. According to the head of state, a collaboration between the two countries will mutually benefit both parties, with Japan gaining access to Kenya's skilled workforce.
The biggest debate we have today in the world, the biggest conversation we have today in the world is a conversation about climate change. What floods are doing to our world, drought, and everything in between. And it was brought about by energy. Energy is what brought us to the precipice where we are today. And again, energy is going to take us out of this challenge. Fortunately, we have the largest reserves of renewable energy in our continent.
Still on matters Japan, Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi says Kenyans living in the diaspora play a significant role in the nation's development. Mudavadi, who is in Japan for an official visit, said the government acknowledges their importance and is currently in the process of reviewing policies to better support them. The Prime Cabinet Secretary highlighted the need for policies that facilitate investment opportunities for Kenyans abroad to contribute to the development of their homeland. Additionally, he has urged Kenyans living in the diaspora to serve as exemplary ambassadors for Kenya, promoting its interests and values wherever they reside.
The diaspora are very strong. We want to consolidate and improve on our diaspora policy. When the department sends out its requests for ideas, please respond as early as possible. And we also need to acknowledge that in Japan, we've had strong relationship, and some of you, not all, but a good number of you may have come here on JICA scholarships. And we are therefore very appreciative to the government of Japan on that score. And our mission here, led by His Excellency the President, is really to consolidate that partnership. So while we are operating from Nairobi and you are in Japan, don't just look at yourselves as the diaspora. Take it that you're patriotic Kenyans and you're ambassadors of Kenya and ambassadors of the President of Kenya.
Back in the country, and Wajir County government has launched its first modern mortuary, alleviating transportation challenges for non-Muslims dealing with the loss of their loved ones. In Wajir, non-Muslim residents have long faced significant obstacles in transporting their deceased family members due to the absence of a proper mortuary facility. However, that has been addressed with the inauguration of the first modern mortuary in the area. This crucial development is expected to ease the burden of non-Muslim families by providing a dedicated facility equipped with an operating room, spacious mortuary area, and special display section adhering to all necessary mortuary standards.
I'm indeed honored to officiate groundbreaking ceremony for the construction of modern mortuary. Wajir County has become a cosmopolitan county, and the residents of Wajir County require a dignified, respectful, safe care transfer and storage of bodies before burial. The current mortuary we have here at Wajir County Referral Hospital is a holding room, and sometimes we get a lot of difficulties in preservation of bodies, because it's not really ideal mortuary. Rather, it's just a collecting area. So today, the administration of His Excellency, the Governor Ahmed Abdullahi, has taken a bold step of ensuring that the residents of Wajir County get a fully equipped modern mortuary.
From Wajir to Kisii, where Kisii County's political atmosphere has once again turned violent, with Doris Aburu, the woman representative, becoming the latest victim of what is being described as political unrest. This incident comes exactly a month after Kisii Governor Simba Arati was attacked in South Mugirango. Aburu's car was targeted by a group of youth in Egembo as she was leaving a funeral service after addressing mourners in Gatuki village, Bomachoge Chache constituency. The convoy was ambushed by an unknown number of youth on her way to Ogembo. The woman representative is now calling for a thorough investigation into the incident.
Kwa hivyo kama sisi tunapigwa mawe, sembuse wale wengine wenye hawawezi ongea, ni wengi wamegandamizwa and they can say nothing. So anytime najua watu wa media mnaweza anza kuprofile kusema Kisiko namna gani, Kisiko namna gani, Kisiko namna hii. Vile hiyo gari inaonekana, hiyo ndio Kisii. Kisii yenye haina amani, Kisii ya kuporomoka, Kisii ya zero development, Kisii ya makelele. Na mtu mwenye anafanya hili jambo lote, vita ijaanza kitambo, vita imeanza kutoka election 2022 hivi ikielekea December mpaka sasa hivi vita zinaendelea. Hii gari ya serikali kuna tofauti na mtu. Ni gari wamepiga. Sisi tukitoka hapo, kwanza mimi nilipeana pesa za chief whip. Hapo ndio kelele ilianza. Meaning ni kitu ilikuwa imepangwa.
The government's decision to privatize Nzoia Sugar Company has drawn criticism from politicians from Western Kenya region. According to Zachary Barasa, a former Bungoma County gubernatorial candidate, there was no public participation conducted. He says that while President Ruto's government is investing heavily into the coffee, tea and milk sectors, it is unjust to lease Nzoia Sugar rather than providing the necessary equipment and funding as he had pledged during his campaign.
Mimi naeleza viongozi wale wako, sisi kama watu ya Bungoma tutaendelea kupinga na hatutakubali kampuni yetu shamba ekari 1024 iende kwa mikono ya watu wachache, sababu ya viongozi watatu waine wale wa Bungoma wale wako na tamaa ya uongozi, wale wako na tamaa ya kutaka kula zile fedha ndogo ndogo na hawaangalii ile picha kubwa wale wakazi wa Bungoma. Tuhakikishe kuwa mahakama imetusaidia, tumefunga haya maneno ya kuuza. Sababu ukiangalia tuna zile orders ambayo kwa alipeana kusimamisha, lakini nasikia kwa zile orders kampuni hazikuwa. Ndio serikali inataka kutumia njia. Na unajua serikali pia iko na akili nyingi sana. Inasema inataka kufanya leasing not less than 30 years. Hawasemi privatization. Lakini hii leasing ukipeana kampuni kwa miaka 99 as good as selling, hiyo kampuni itakuwa imeenda. Hatutakuwa na uwezo. Na hiyo ndio tunaambia serikali haiwezekani. Na pia ukiangalia wakati rais alikuwa katika kaunti ya Bungoma, alikuwa anasema kuwa hule mtu ambaye anakuja atakuwa anapewa serikali ya Bungoma milioni 300 kila mwaka. Hilo swali tunauliza. Rais aliongea na mtu gani ambaye alimueleza kuwa anataka kupeana milioni 300 kila mwaka? Na maanisha tayari washapata ule mtu wa kukodisha ile kampuni ama ule mtu wa kununua ambaye atakuwa anapewa, washasikizana, wanajua ni milioni 300 kila mwaka ambaye itakuwa inapeana kwa kampuni ya kwa serikali ya county government ya Bungoma.
To matters environment conservation, and the 6th session of the United Nations Environment Assembly, UNEA-6, will take place from 26th February to 1st March at the United Nations Environment Programme UNEP headquarters in Nairobi, Kenya. The assembly will be preceded by the 6th meeting of the open-ended committee of permanent representatives, which will help lay the groundwork for the assembly from the 19th to the 23rd of February. Ahead of the assembly, the UN Environment Programme, together with the government of Kenya, held a special in-person press conference to turn the spotlight on environmental multilateralism as well as key issues up for discussion at UNEA-6. Inger Anderson, the Executive Director, UN Environment Programme, Soipan Tuya, Cabinet Secretary, Environment, Climate Change and Forestry, as well as Radhika Ochalik, Director of Governance Affairs at the UNEP, underscored the key issues up for discussion come end of this month. Over 5,000 delegates are expected to attend UNEA-6.
As we prepare for the assembly, it's clear that the world has a no longer to-do list, but a must-do list when it comes to the environment. This is a must-do list that the UNEP calls on to tackle what we refer to as a triple planetary crisis: the crisis of climate change, the crisis of nature, biodiversity and desertification, nature and biodiversity loss and desertification, and the crisis of pollution and waste. And these crises are disproportionately affecting the global south and especially the African continent, including Kenya. The impacts here are here now, and they are growing. Last year was the hottest record year that we know, bringing more intense storms, more droughts, more flooding, more wildfires.
Last week, we just finished a public participation meeting, and we are at the tail end of finalizing our regulations to back our Climate Change Act. We are reviewing our Environmental Management and Coordination Act. We have just set up the designated national authority, putting in place structures for the carbon markets registries. We are working on our Forest Management and Coordination Act, again, to ensure that we capitalize on our nature-based solutions to the climate crisis action that we need to see. We are accelerating the transformation of our linear waste management system into a circular economy, and among a raft of activities that we are working on is to set up demonstration material recovery facilities across the country in order to make this big leap from linear waste management to circularity.
And we shall be bringing you updates of events happening before and during the UNEA-6. Kitui Governor Julius Malombe and the County Assembly Speaker Kevin Kinengo have convened a 3-day working meeting of the two arms of government to deliberate on the final stages of the Kitui County River Basin's sand utilization and conservation bill and policy. The aim of this legislation is to regulate sand harvesting activity in Kitui County. Governor Julius Malombe emphasized the significance of the bill and its benefits to the people of Kitui County. Meanwhile, County Assembly Speaker Kevin Kinengo says that the Assembly's priority is to create a law that serves the interests of the community. The Kitui County River Basin's Sand Utilization and Conservation Bill sailed through its first reading on October 25th last year. It was subsequently referred to the Committee on Environment, Energy and Mineral Investments Development for further review and consideration.
I said this is the most important, not one of the most important, the most important business we will undertake as members of the County Assembly, as the members of the County Executive, is this particular bill.
So members, allow me to say that I'm very happy that looking at you, naona mmetosheka na ile clarification governor ameweza kupeana na timu yake. Hata mimi nimetosheka, maana mimi ni mtu wa maswali mingi sana. Nimeuliza maswali mingi mpaka nika feel satisfied with the response. Tafadhali tuondoe siasa na tuondoe pia personalizing this law. Let us not personalize this law. This law is for our people, not for us. And I'm sure tukifanya hivyo with the leadership of our governor na tuko hapo na yeye tutaweza kupata sheria mzuri.
From the discussions, those gray areas